This deck is rad. Storm, the proliferate poison deck that is also a High Tide Mind's Desire deck. Let's go check it out. This video is proudly sponsored by Card Market. This is Legacy Radstorm Desire Tide, and if you're unfamiliar, it is a High Tide based combo deck. So High Tide is an instant for 1 blue that says all islands tap for an additional blue until end of turn. You want to untap those islands using Candelabra of Tawnos, Turnabout, or even Time Spiral to generate tons of mana. And after you've made tons of mana and have a bunch of spells you can play to create Storm, you want to play Prologue to Phyresis to give your opponent a poison counter, and then you play Radstorm to proliferate those poison counters. Well, why would you play this instead of just Brain Freeze? Brain Freeze has been the golden standard for the last 20-ish years. Like, why would you play something else? Well, Brain Freeze doesn't beat Veil of Summer, which, Veil of Summer isn't the world's most common card, so I could understand just still playing Brain Freeze. But it also doesn't beat the One Ring. And that's the big problem. So by playing Prologue to Phyresis and Radstorm, you get to beat those two cards. And the One Ring is fairly popular, so you should have a plan for it, in my opinion. So this is the new way that High Tide combo wins in Legacy. And I did record this months ago when Radstorm came to Magic Online in a instant speed solidarity based deck list, and I didn't love it. So today we're playing a sorcery speed list that uses Time Spiral, Mind's Desire, and then gets to leverage things like Candelabra of Tawnos. So I've put a lot of thought into this deck list, and I believe that this is going to be a good video because I really, what's the word I'm looking for here? Deliberated over every slot. There we go. I know words. And so we have Brainstorm and Ponder for consistency, but when you're the sorcery speed build, you also get Merchant Scroll that always finds your High Tide. It can also get silver bullets like Snap or Intuition. Intuition is in the deck because you can't Merchant Scroll for Time Spiral or Mind's Desire, but you can Merchant Scroll for Intuition and then get these cards. You could also get Cunning Wish and then the pair of Fave Wishes to guarantee your ability to grab something out of the sideboard. All of these numbers have been carefully crafted, is my point. Like, this was not an accidental deck list. I put a lot of thought into this. And then with Merchant Scroll, you could also grab the Prologue to Phyresis or Radstorm. So there's a lot of synergy and tutoring in this main deck. And then in the sideboard, with Fave Wishes, you can actually grab sorceries. So we have a Mind's Desire in there. Mind's Desire cannot be grabbed with the Singleton Cunning Wish, but I think that's just fine. And you might be saying, why one Cunning Wish? Well, you are a Merchant Scroll deck. So instead of running 3 Fave Wishes, by playing one Cunning Wish, you essentially get the same effect, but then you get to overlap your utility with the Merchant Scroll. And then you can grab things like Pact of Negation, and then your sideboard copies of Prologue to Phyresis or Radstorm, whatever, in case for some reason you can't play your main deck copies or they get exiled to Force of Will. So that is the deck tech today. A little long, a little bit rambly, but hopefully I got the point across. Thank you for watching. I really do appreciate it. Like, comment, subscribe, and stick around and watch the matches. I hope you enjoy them. I'll see you in the first round. Don't go anywhere. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to leave a like, comment, and subscribe. You can also show your support by becoming a member of this channel. You get sweet perks such as badges, emotes, early access to videos, exclusive members only content, and access to our members Discord section. As you increase the tiers, there are other rewards such as shop discounts, sideboard guides, and even free donation decks. Click the join button down below to find out more. We also have other ways you can support us, like theepicsforum.com/shop or submitting a donation deck via theepicsforum.com/donation decks. That's enough for now. Let's play some Magic. Welcome to match number 1. We're on the draw, and I will keep. I faced our opponent a bunch recently when recording, and they almost always play blue decks. So that's what I'm going to put them on here, and keeping this slow and steady hand is my game plan. If they're on a turn 1 combo deck today, they've got me. I'm willing to accept that I lose. But I think that this is what I want against somebody that typically plays control strategies. Scalding Tarn, okay. We draw another Ponder. We'll do the Brian Cook special, turn 1 island into Ponder. And let's keep all of these. No, I will not shuffle past the turn. Instead, they activate the Scalding Tarn or an Undercity Sewers. Animate Dead, so they're on Dimir Reanimator, the bully of the format. And now they Brainstorm. A Wasteland. Very good against me, let me tell you. Alright, we'll play Misty Rainforest. Let's fetch. Ouch. We will grab Basic Island. And then let's play Merchant Scroll. They play a Daze, that's fine. Pass the turn. They replay the Undercity Sewers. And they surveil Atraxa to the graveyard. What a hit. The Singleton Atraxa. We're in trouble. I will tap the island. Let's play Brainstorm. We do not find anything we need. I'll put back at least one land. And maybe this Cunning Wish. Play Polluted Delta. We'll fetch. Grab Island. And then we'll play Merchant Scroll. We will select a High Tide. I could grab Force of Will here to try to fight them on the Atraxa level. But I'm not going to. Like, we just need to be able to do our own thing. And they have the Reanimate. They did not find a Force of Will. They did find Thoughtseize, Polluted Delta, and a Daze. The Undercity Sewers into Atraxa probably lost us this game. You could argue that I was supposed to get Force of Will last turn. I just don't think it's a realistic winning strategy, I guess. Because let's say I Force of Will here and it resolves. Our opponent didn't have their own Force of Will in this magical world. Okay, so what are you pitching? Are you pitching Mind's Desire or are you exiling the Ponder? If you exile Ponder, you're stuck with a hand that does nothing. They didn't play a black land for Thoughtseize? That is so strange. Okay, that's odd. But basically, you were in a lose-lose situation. And by getting the High Tide, I put myself in a spot where I could potentially win the game. They get rid of Brazen Borrower. We find Turnabout. We'll play Scalding Tarn. We'll cast High Tide. That resolves. I love it. All right, we'll fetch. And the reason I'm not fetching first is that if it was countered, I want to grab my Mystic Sanctuary. So we'll tap an island. Let's try a Candelabra of Thanos. And another Candelabra of Thanos. We'll make some mana. And now we'll activate. Feeling pretty good about this game now. Okay, we'll make some more mana. Activate the Candelabra again. And now we will turn about our opponent. We'll say land and tap. Okay. I can now play Ponder. Storm is 5. I think we keep the High Tide here. I'll play High Tide. And Storm 7, Mind's Desire. Let's go! Your Force of Will still could counter something later, but it cannot counter this Mind's Desire trigger. That is for sure. They're going to Force of Will a copy here. Okay, sure, if that's what you would like to do. I think that's the not practical application of this. They exile a Murktide Regent. Because what if I reveal 5 lands and then 2 payoffs? Like, it's better to hit something else later, in my opinion. We reveal a Merchant Scroll, Brainstorm, Bay of Wishes, Mystic Sanctuary, Force of Will, and a Time Spiral. Okay. Our island taps for 3. Let's cast Time Spiral. They Force of Will, exiling Brazen Borrower. I will cast my Force of Will on their Force of Will. Time Spiral. And they have triple Force. Wow. Alright, so what can I do? I guess I could have started on Merchant Scroll for like another counter spell. I can't brainstorm in anything here. And my deck list doesn't have a a Brain Freeze in the sideboard that would admittedly be very good here. Alright, I'm going to let this go. And then what I can do is we can grant it and go grab Snap. So we'll grab Snap and bounce this Atraxa, untap my lands, and now in theory I could Brainstorm into another Mind's Desire or Time Spiral. We'll play the Brainstorm. It's another Merchant Scroll, okay. So we can Merchant Scroll now for Turnabout. Target myself with Turnabout. Land, untap. And now I can cast this Merchant Scroll. So we have 2 Desires and then another Fairy for me to go grab off of Intuition. So I'll select Intuition, target you. This was a sweet one. I can't believe the Snap line was what I found in order to win. So we'll select Desire, Desire, and then Fae of Wishes. So they gave me the Fae of Wishes, which is sort of expected. So now I'll play Granted. We can grab the sideboard copy of Mind's Desire. And now Mind's Desire for 21. They had triple Force of Will. Oh, that's funny. Okay, we will cast Turnabout targeting me. Land, untap. Let's move this over here. We'll play Prologue. And then now that they have their first poison, we can Radstorm. Okay, so this part's a little tedious. I do wish that there was a better way of doing this. You have to let each copy resolve and then select on their icon each time to proliferate once. Okay, and we win game number 1 versus Reanimator with a spicy red splash. Whoops, hate this. Let's scale that down. We likely want all of our surgical extractions, probably some number of Flusterstorm. And even though we are the Prologue deck, I'm going to board them out. Basically, this is an interaction-based matchup, so I can't afford to have cards in my deck that don't interact. So we're going to board those out. That makes a little bit of room. So now we're above. We're still at 62. I have to find a few more cuts. We probably don't need Snap, even though it was incredibly good for me that game. I think I'm going to swap the Desire and the Time Spiral. Just because Desire is better against counter magic, I think that's the one I'd like 4 of in my deck. And then we'll board out 1 Turnabout and submit this. Our opponent has kept 7, so will we. Polluted Delta, we will fetch. And I think I'm actually going to change my mind. I'm going to just pass. I thought about pondering, but if they had Endstep and Tomb, I'd feel really dumb. So I'm just not going to do that. Merchant Scroll, we will pass. Under City Sewers, we'll Brainstorm while they can't Orcish Bowmasters me. Put back 1 copy of Merchant Scroll and a Ponder. I might redraw the Ponder, though. And they play their own Ponder. And now they Thoughtseize. I'm going to Flusterstorm here. We'll grab a basic island. And then play Flusterstorm on the Thoughtseize. The Thoughtseize has now been countered, and we'll go to my turn. Bay of Wishes, we'll play Misty Rainforest. Ponder. Good Ponder, we'll keep all of these. Pass. Our opponent casts Entomb. Sure. Attracts it to the graveyard. What is the red for? Is it just like Meltdown out of the sideboard? And I wish I had something here, but I don't. I'm glad that it was actually Animate Dead, because in my head, I thought about Merchant Scroll for Flusterstorm, and then I was like, no, that's such a coward's play. And then I ended up not doing it. So I'm glad that I wasn't punished for the play that I didn't make. So they find a bunch of things here that are not free counter magic. They have 4 unknowns in their hand. So they could take land Thoughtseize. They have not played a land yet according to the log. They activated a Polluted Delta, but that was it. They played the Polluted Delta, and now they're fetching. Basic Swamp. And the Thoughtseize. I'm guessing they take the High Tide. I have another one on top of my deck. And they do take High Tide. We'll draw the one that I knew was on top. And we'll cast it. High Tide. They Daze. I'll pay. Fetch with the Misty. Fetch with Misty. We'll play Candelabra. Untap, untap, untap. Merchant Scroll for Turnabout. This will end up making a couple mana. Target ourselves, land, untap. And now we'll play Time Spiral floating 2. Okay, so we have 8 total mana now. And our opponent's tapped out, but they could have more free counter magic. We'll play High Tide. And let's Mind's Desire for 8. I would love if we beat Reanimator 2 games in a row where they put an Atrox onto the table. Let's go! Radstorm too powerful for Legacy. We're 1-0 to start off this league. Moxfield.com is the easiest way to build a Magic deck online. They support over 30 formats, including Legacy and many other Eternal formats. There are so many options to view decks the way that you want, from text view to individual cards, mana value, and even card price. There's also light mode and dark mode. My personal favorite feature is card tags. This way you can sort cards by function. Moxfield supports collection tracking, Scryfall search, decklist feedback, and so much more. Follow me on Moxfield.com so you can stay updated on all of my decks. Match number 2, we're on the play. Keep. Very good hand. We'll play Basic Island into Ponder. Another High Tide and a Brainstorm. Think we keep these? Pass the turn. Our opponent plays Chrome Mox, okay. And Prince Fury, so they're on Moon Stompy. Are you going to Blood Moon me? The deck that has nothing but basic lands in it. Chalice of the Void on 0. Yes, let's go! 4 mana for a 1 ring. Sure. I do not care. I am not playing Dark Ritual Storm today. Wonder if I could actually Desire this turn. So, my top card, I believe, is a fetch land. So no, I cannot. I think we just play the Candle. Pass the turn. So now they'll draw 2, so they have 4 cards in their hand. Ancient Tomb. Fable of the Mirrorbreaker. I still do not care. And now we're going to try to win. Play this Polluted Delta. We will fetch. Grab a basic island. High Tide. High Tide. Tap for mana. Candelabra will untap our 3 lands. I'll play Brainstorm. Ooh, that was good. Put back Merchant Scroll and the Force of Will. We'll play another Candle. Target our 3 lands. And we'll Mind's Desire for 5 with a backup of Time Spiral. Force of Will, Turnabout, Brainstorm, Land, and another High Tide. We'll play the High Tide. And I think I want to keep these cards in exile. So we'll Time Spiral now. I don't want to redraw Turnabout. Like, it's actually just better in exile. We'll untap these. Play the Brainstorm now. Because now I have cards I want to put back. So we'll put back 2 lands. Play a High Tide. We'll play Merchant Scroll. We'll grab Prologue. And this should just be enough to win. We'll Turnabout targeting me. Land. Untap. We'll play Prologue. And now I can Granted for the sideboard copy of Radstorm. And we'll cast the Radstorm. What's kind of funny about this is not only can I proliferate the poison on them, I can also proliferate the one on the ring. So that way, even if I couldn't poison them out, I could use their own ring to win the game. I guess I could also level up their Fable. We'll do that. I just think it's funny. Alright, our opponent concedes. Well, that was just some good magic, let me tell you. Alright, so we probably want this Echoing Truth. We don't have a lot in our sideboard for these matchups, to be honest. Probably get rid of the Snap. Submit. Game number 2 on the draw. Our opponent's kept 7. We will also keep Ancient Tomb. Chalice of the Void on 1. Okay. In case our opponent leads with a Blood Moon, I'm going to play this Polluted Delta out. What's funny about this is our deck has some sort of built-in protection for this Chalice of the Void. I can eventually Radstorm up the Chalice and then make it not relevant, or I can just find the Echoing Truth off of Merchant Scroll. City of Traders, and Fable of the Mirrorbreaker. We draw another land, we'll play our island, pass the turn. They attack with the Goblin Shaman token, so they'll get to create a treasure. And the One Ring. Okay. Good start for the opponent, but we are still in it. They play another Fable of the Mirrorbreaker. Okay. End step, I'll use this Cunning Wish. So I do wish that right now I had a second Echoing Truth, but it's not the end of the world. And I think I'll grab Snap. Intuition, we'll play the Scalding Tarn and pass. So my game plan here is that on their turn, I'm going to Radstorm their permanents up. They discard Fable of the Mirrorbreaker and Pyrogoyf. They play another land and another One Ring, which isn't a problem. Like, we can beat the One Ring. That is why we're playing Radstorm today. So now they swing. On the end step, we will fetch, grab another basic, and Radstorm. We'll target Chalice of the Void, the One Ring, and the Fable. I probably shouldn't have targeted the Fable, but I'm just trying to be silly here. Like, I think I either win or lose the game on my turn, and that this Fable probably doesn't matter, but I shouldn't have done it. Like, I don't need to help my opponent out. I'm just trying to have some fun. And now we'll target Chalice of the Void and the One Ring. Okay. Force of Will. We'll play High Tide. Their Chalice of the Void on one deck has Pyroblast in hand, but we drew Force of Will, so we'll cast it. We'll counter the Red Elemental Blast, exiling Intuition. High Tide. We'll bounce a Fable of the Mirrorbreaker. I'll play a Brainstorm. I have not played a land yet, so I could play this Mystic Sanctuary. We'll play the Sanctuary. We'll put Radstorm on top. I don't know. I don't think it really matters. And now I can make some more mana. We'll play Granted. Yes. I'll grab Turnabout. Target myself. Land, untap. And now we'll Time Spiral with a bunch of mana floating. Okay, now I'll play High Tide so that way we have even more mana floating. Play a Prologue to Phyresis. They'll get their first poison. We draw another Force of Will. Let's play Brainstorm. Put back the Scalding Tarn and the Candle. We just don't need it. Tap my Mystic Sanctuary. We'll Merchant Scroll. We'll grab Radstorm. Play Brainstorm. We find the Echoing Truth. That's fun. Let's bounce the Chalice of the Void because I can. And now we'll play Radstorm. Storm is 15. So I could either let them lose to their own One Ring or I can finish poisoning them out. I have to say the deck list today feels pretty good. Let's go. Mindbreak Trap. Okay, well I will show you what a hardcast Force of Will looks like. The Pyroblast. I will Force of Will, exiling Force of Will. Radstorm. And now we win the match. So we still had it the whole time. All of these. Alright, we're 2-0. There's 3 matches left. Hopefully we get those as well. Looking to make playing your favorite combo deck much easier? Look no further than the Epic Storm Mini Token Combo Pack, which is available at theepicstorm.com/shop for $14.99. This combo token pack comes with 84 double-sided tokens. That includes our classic Storm and mana tokens as well as fan favorites such as Goblins, Squirrels, and Slime Time Live. But that's not all. We've expanded this token pack to cover a variety of formats with new tokens. Stop on by theepicstorm.com/shop and make an easy decision to elevate your combo game. Round number 3, we're on the draw and we're facing Oops All Spells Legend Faulted Form. And I've opened up a hand that contains Force of Will. We're going to keep. That's a Dark Ritual. Undercity Informer. I guess we'll try to counter it here. Exile Mind's Desire. Play our Polluted Delta and we'll pass. That was not a, like, we traded 2 for 2 there. That was a very good exchange for them. And the one of Reanimate here. Okay, I guess we lose. Ah, bummer. Okay. We'll bring in the Surgical Extraction, Cluster Storms. I do think that this is a matchup where we need to take out the Radstorm stuff just because we need to be more interactive. That's 61. Maybe take out 1 Time Spiral. We'll try this. Game number 2, we're on the play. Yeah, we'll keep. Misty Rainforest, pass the turn. Cabal Therapy. I'm going to Flusterstorm this. They don't get to see my hand. We'll play Mystic Sanctuary, pass. Dark Ritual, and Spy. I think we're supposed to force here. So the problem with like letting them mill their deck is they're actually very resilient once you let them mill. Like there's 2 Cabal Therapies, there's all the Poxwalkers. So they had Pact of Negation. They have double Cabal Therapy before they ever have to Dread Return. I think I'm supposed to just Fluster here. So they had a turn 2 with double backup. That's pretty good. Wow. Triple backup. Yeah, you got me. You wanted it more. Holy moly. And I just want to see the deck list here. So I'm going to let them go through it. And it looks like the pretty stock deck list. There's some Sink into Stupors, so I guess it's actually Dimir today. Which means that there could be Force of Wills in the sideboard. No Unmask. But they've got me. Bummer. Alright, sometimes you lose in Magic. It happens. We are now 2-1. You're still watching. Make sure to give this video a like, comment, and subscribe. While you're near the description, here's a reminder to use our affiliate links if you're going to make a purchase from Amazon, Card Hoarder, or TCG Player. Just above those affiliate links, you'll find our social channels. Make sure to join those to connect with us. Round number 4, we're on the draw. I'm going to try this. It's a little clunky, so I'm worried that, one, it's slow. I can't interact with the opponent. Like, this hand is only good if my opponent is also playing a blue deck. We see turn 1 Tundra, so that's generally a good start. And Ponder. We'll play Polluted Delta, pass the turn. And now a Brainstorm. Savannah. So this is probably Cephalid Breakfast or a dedicated Nadu combo deck. I'll fetch in my upkeep. I don't want to draw another land. We'll grab a basic island, take a draw. Brainstorm was a good find. We'll play it. Okay. Could probably put back at least one land. And then maybe another land. We will pass. Right now I need to find High Tide is the biggest hurdle. Alright, Urza's Saga. So this is probably Cephalid Breakfast. The Fairy Time Raveler. Well, I don't have any counter magic, so you got it. We will fetch. Grab a basic. I suppose we'll play out Candelabra. It kind of gives up what we're doing, but I think it's supposed to be in play in case I draw High Tide. Cavern of Souls. They choose Wizard. And they're going to Ending My Candle. Not very nice. Okay, I will fetch. Grab another island. Merchant Scroll. So this can grab High Tide, but I cannot win this turn. So their saga is going to the final chapter. So next turn I could try to win. But what are the odds I even get another turn here? Pretty low. They search out Shuko off of the Urza Saga with the final chapter. So now a Nadu or a Cephalid Illusionist likely wins the game for them. And there's the Illusionist. Nomads in Core, sure. So now our opponent's going to mill their library, and eventually we'll see more of their deck. So now Narcomoebas will enter. They still have about 15 cards left in their library. Our opponents revealed 2 copies of Force of Will, and then 1 was in the bottom 3. So they have a Force of Will in their hand prior to them winning this turn. And then we can just go to the next one. They have Dread Return into Thassa's Oracle. I don't need to make them click it. I just wanted to see what their deck had. We definitely want Flusterstorm and Surgical Extractions. I don't think Snap is great, and then once again, when we need to be more interactive, you just sideboard out the Radstorm package, and then you can wish into it later. And then 1 turnabout. Let's try this. Game 2, we're on the play. Sure, we'll try it, I suppose. We'll play Island and Ponder. We find High Tide, I like that. We'll keep it on top, we'll draw the Delta, pass the turn. Our opponent plays a first turn Urza's Saga. We'll play the Misty Rainforest and pass. Tropical Island. Ponder. Okay. On the end step we will fetch. Grab another basic. So you might be saying, Bryant, why aren't there Surveil lands in your deck list? We're a High Tide deck. We just simply can't afford to be hit by Wasteland. That's the real reason. You could argue that your deck should have 1, but it really opens you up to something that your deck is so good against where I'm not sure if it's worth it. They grab the Shuko. Cavern of Souls. The name Wizard. Is this a Nadu? Bummer. Yep. They reveal Force of Will to Nadu. Of course they do. Come on. Why would you reveal anything else? You're killing me, Smalls. You're just killing me. They discard the Memory's Journey. We draw another land. I'm going to attempt a High Tide. So if this ends up being countered, I can always fetch for Mystic Sanctuary. And if it's not countered, we could try a Mind's Desire or Time Spiral. They Force Will, exiling Narcomoeba. I will Force of Will back, exiling... So Desire's the higher upside play. Alright, I guess I could Surgical for information first. Exile Ponder. And they have their own Force of Will. So we're going to lose this. I can't beat this. Bummer. They had double Force. So I think how we win this is we hope that they let the Tide resolve, and then we Mind's Desire. And that's not what happened. We'll play Delta past the turn. Alright, they reveal Brainstorm. And now they have a white mana for the Orm's Chant. And Nomad, so now they get 2 more triggers. And they hit the Illusionist. So I am dead. Wow. We started off so hot, and now we've lost the last 2. Hopefully we can get match number 5 and finish this with a positive record. The best Legacy podcast? That would be Eternal Glory featuring myself, Bryant Cook, alongside Brian Cobalt and Phil Gallagher. We're available on all major podcast platforms and YouTube. The 5th and final round, we're facing Magic Dads, a Twitch streamer who exclusively plays Rakdos Reanimator style strategies. So I've opened up a hand that doesn't really interact much. I believe we're supposed to mulligan. I don't want to mulligan to Force of Will. We'll keep Bottom the Radstorm, Looted Delta. They search out Badlands. Faithless Looting. Discards Gristlebrand and Atraxa. We draw Force of Will. That's certainly good. We'll play Ponder. I believe we keep this. I'll draw the Turnabout, and that will be the card that I'd like to exile to the Force of Will. Bloodstained Mire and Animate Dead. I will cast Force of Will, exiling Turnabout. So now we're going to draw the Brainstorm. I'll play the Misty Rainforest and we'll pass. Now they have Shallow Grave, which will put Gristlebrand onto the table. I know that my top card is a dead card, so I think I'm supposed to fetch here because it increases my odds of finding another copy of Force of Will. Mystic Sanctuary won't work because I don't have 3 other islands on the table. We'll play Brainstorm. And we miss. So I'll put these 2 back and I'll cast another Brainstorm and hope that the 3rd card down is another Force of Will. And it wasn't. So I'm going to concede. We'll save myself some time here. I don't need to let my opponent draw their entire deck and just die. So we'll bring in Flusterstorm. We'll bring in Surgical Extraction. Once again, the Snap, Radstorm, and the Prologue to Phyresis, and a Turnabout. Let's try this. Game number 2, we're on the play. Sure, we'll keep this. And our opponent's also kept 7. We'll Ponder looking for a Force of Will. If we don't find one, I will shuffle. Pass the turn. They play Raucous Theater. Archon of Cruelty. My opponent's this league with surveilling into large creatures has not been good to me. We'll play Scalding Tarn, pass the turn. Polluted Delta, and a Faithless Looting, sure. Discards Dark Ritual and a Gristlebrand. 5 cards remaining. Dark Ritual, okay. Thoughtseize. I'm going to Flusterstorm. They're currently 1 mana short of being able to pay for this Flusterstorm. They have 1 mana floating. We will Surgical Extraction on the Gristlebrand that the Reanimate is targeting. Their hand is double Pyroblast. So we'll make sure we exile the 1 in the graveyard. And now these 2. Triple Mindbreak Trap. I see you over there. Okay. We draw another Surgical. Let's try Brainstorm. We did not hit another land, which was something I was looking for. I'll put back the Fae of Wishes and Mind's Desire. We'll play the Mystic Sanctuary and pass. Our opponent draws, and it looks like they're just going to pass the turn. We'll fetch, because I don't want to draw the cards again off the Brainstorm. And I drew another Brainstorm, so we will pass the turn. Okay, and it looks like our opponent's just going to try to rebuild slowly, not flashing back the Faithless Looting. Our Force of Will draw was good, so it looks like we've stabilized. I just need to hit some more lands. Merchant Scroll. Let's play the Brainstorm. They let that happen. Put Desire and the Turnabout on top. Let's see if I can draw out a Pyroblast here with the Merchant Scroll. And it resolves. I think I'd like another High Tide. Faithless Looting. Discards Atraxa and a Dark Ritual. 5 cards in hand. Another Looting. This time they discard Pyroblast and a Verdant Catacombs. Unmask. I will Flusterstorm. So they have 2 cards left in their hand, one of which is a Pyroblast. They're trying to pay costs, so I think they might have Mindbreak in hand, and they're trying to play it here, but I haven't played 3 spells. They have. I have just played the Fluster. And then on the end step, I will Surgical Extraction on Pyroblast. I am so smart. Their card in hand was, in fact, a Mindbreak Trap. Okay. So they have a very sad Mindbreak Trap in their hand. We'll play our land. So I could go High Tide, Time Spiral and play into their trap. I could also just go High Tide, Spiral, or I can just pass. And if they draw Reanimate, I can just hardcast Force of Will. And I think I'd rather do that. They drew a land. Another Surgical. Okay, we'll pass. And they grab a Badlands. Thoughtseize. I will hardcast Force of Will. Alright, so I'm probably going to just High Tide Time Spiral. So I'm going to exile their Faithless Lootings. And I'm doing it on their end step to avoid playing spells on my own turn. So we exile the 3 in the graveyard and then the 1 from their deck. We draw another land. We'll activate. I go down to 12. High Tide. Storm is 1. And now Storm 2, Time Spiral. Our opponent will not be able to play the Mindbreak Trap for free because I have not played 3 spells. And now we'll untap our lands. And our opponent just concedes. Sure, I'm good with that. Alright, game 3 for some number of marbles. I like my configuration. I will resubmit. Our opponent has kept 7 cards. I'm not going to mulligan to Force of Will or Surgical. Our opponent's deck has a lot of discard. We also saw Pyroblast. So I'm going to just keep a solid hand and try to, do what I can. So drawing Flusterstorm was good. I'm just going to play the island and pass now. I was going to Ponder. Not anymore. Raucous Theater. Let's unmask to the graveyard. That's surprising. It seems like a card they would be looking for. Okay. We draw another Ponder. We'll play it. Shuffle these. We don't need any of those. And I redraw Fave Wishes anyway. We will pass. Only Flusterstorm is my protection. Makes me a little nervous here. But I don't think you're supposed to Ponder looking for like a Surgical. I feel like that's just a mistake. On my end step, they activate the Bloodstained Mire for an Underground Sea. So they can. The last game they could have hardcast Mindbreak Trap because they had a Lotus Petal and an untapped fetch. It was something that crossed my mind, but I did not verbalize it. I'm just pointing it out now. So we get another draw. I will play Ponder. A few more High Tides. Am I supposed to just keep one of these? I don't know. I feel like I'm supposed to. We'll play an island. Pass the turn. I could theoretically try to win next turn. They have land number 3, 7 cards. Dark Ritual. Okay. Show and Tell. I will attempt a Flusterstorm. They paid for one of the Flusterstorms. I don't know if that was intentional. I think we want to redraw High Tide. I know that there's one on top, but I'm going to High Tide here, and then if they interact with me, like via Pyroblast, I can always try again next turn. Let's try High Tide. And they do Pyroblast. We'll just pass. My top card is a Turnabout that I don't particularly want. On the end step, we will fetch. They have 4 cards. We'll grab Mystic Sanctuary. Oh, whoops. My bad. I forgot. I was like, oh, I'll fetch and then I'll put the trigger on the stack. Can't do that. My bad. Misplay by me. So now I can't Cunning Wish for a Pact of Negation either. Surgical. I guess I can target their Pyroblast here. See what they're holding. Well, a whole lot of nothing. Okay. We'll play High Tide. Turnabout targeting me. Land. Untap. So I could try to Fave Wishes into Desire, but I don't think that's good enough here. I think I'm just going to Time Spiral. Untap, 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 untap. We'll play Candelabra. Merchant Scroll. We'll grab another High Tide. Play it. Now we'll tap. Our islands make 3. I think I'm going to shuffle this. I don't really need another Fave Wishes. I'll Turnabout targeting myself. Land. Untap. We'll play Granted. Yes. Grab Mind's Desire. And now we'll play it. So this would be a spot where if they had Mindbreak Trap, it could be good. And they do. I will hardcast a Force of Will on the Mindbreak Trap. I removed all their Pyroblasts here, so they would need another Mindbreak here. And we'll just Surgical this because I can. And our opponent concedes. Nice. So we got the 3-2. Decent league. Definitely better than my first run with Radstorm, I'll say that. I liked the deck list a lot. I think moving forward, I would continue to play the Radstorm package. Like, it single-handedly won us the match versus Red Prison. But I do wonder if maybe you could cut down to 1 of each copy in the main deck and then play 1 of each copy in the sideboard. Because you have all the tutoring with Merchant Scroll and Cunning Wish and Fave Wishes. So I'd probably still play 1 of each in the main, but still not bad. And that would allow for something like a main deck Echoing Truth for the Merchant Scroll. And then you'd have 1 flex spot but I liked the deck list. Let me know what you think in the comments section. I would love to hear from you. Thank you for watching. I do appreciate it. I hope you have a wonderful day, and as always, keep storming. Hey, thanks for watching today's video. Make sure to leave a like, comment, and subscribe, and after you do that, click that join button. It contains all of our membership information, such as access to our members exclusive Discord, members exclusive videos, and the best perk in my opinion, you can watch all of our videos early, 1 to 2 weeks in advance. That way you're always up to date on the latest and greatest content.